A boat moves through water, it leaves a wake in the water. When charge moves through the ether, it leaves a wake in the ether. People call this wake magnetism or a magnetic field, and that's how most antennas work. If you think about a quarter wave vertical antenna, there's charge bouncing up and down the length of the antenna. And as the charge moves, as it accelerates and decelerates, it throws off a wake. It throws off these magnetic waves. Each time the charge gets to the bottom of the antenna, you give it a push, and it bounces back up to the top. And as the charge moves up and down, it leaves a wake in the ether, just like the way a boat leaves a wake in the water as the boat moves through the water. Now that's one way of doing things, but there's a whole other way of doing things, and this is what Tesla was doing at Colorado Springs. Let's say you have a hollow metal sphere, and you charge that sphere up with static electricity. Now inside the sphere, the Coulomb potential is very high, but the electric field is zero, because the electric field is just the difference in the Coulomb potential from one point to another. And since inside the sphere the Coulomb potential is the same everywhere, there's no difference in Coulomb potential from one point to another. So there's no electric field inside the sphere. There's electric field outside the sphere, but not inside. Inside, there's just a very high Coulomb potential. Now, let's say you hook up your sphere to an electric circuit that's going to vary the amount of charge on the sphere very rapidly. And that's exactly what Tesla was doing at Colorado Springs. He had a hollow metal sphere hooked up to the secondary of his transformer. And when he ran the primary, the secondary would very rapidly increase and decrease the amount of charge on the sphere. And that would very rapidly increase and decrease the Coulomb potential inside the sphere. Now, Coulomb potential is basically just the air pressure of the ether. That's the way James Clerk Maxwell and all his friends thought of it. The Coulomb potential is just the air pressure of the ether. And you think about, okay, well, what happens when you have something and inside there the air pressure is rapidly changing? Well, that's what's going on inside of an organ pipe in a cathedral or inside of a clarinet. When you blow through the clarinet, the air pressure inside there is very rapidly increasing and decreasing. And that's how we make sound. That's how we make music. So you think about this hollow metal sphere that Tesla's got hooked up to his secondary, and you're very rapidly increasing and decreasing the air pressure of the ether inside that sphere. You're very rapidly fluctuating the Coulomb potential. Well, that's just going to make a sound wave in the ether. That's exactly what Tesla was talking about when he wrote that letter to Heinrich Hertz. So a time-varying Coulomb potential it's a very important thing. That's what Tesla was working with. But if if you go to college nowadays, they'll tell you that the Coulomb potential isn't even a real thing. When I studied electrodynamics in college, we used the Griffiths textbook. And chapter 10 is all about the potentials. They say, yeah, for some problems, it's useful to rewrite Maxwell's equations in terms of the potentials. But, the Coulomb potential is non-physical. It's not actually a real thing in real life. It's just a mathematical idea that you can use to solve equations. Well, that's not true. The Coulomb potential is a real thing. That's what Tesla was working with, was a time-varying Coulomb potential. Now, when you have a time-varying electric field, that induces a magnetic field. And the electric field is just the difference in Coulomb potential from one point in space to another. So ask yourself, what happens when you have a time-varying Coulomb potential? What does that induce? Well, that induces the life energy. The life energy is proportional to a time-varying Coulomb potential, just the way a magnetic field is proportional to a time-varying electric field. The life energy is the kind of energy that your soul is made out of. It's what your mind is made out of. It's a very important, real thing, the life energy. Plato called it psyche, and the later Neoplatonic philosophers called it pneuma. And if you read the New Testament in the original Greek, you'll find both of those words, psyche and pneuma, used to refer to your soul or the life energy that flows through your body. Plato would say that the psyche or life energy comes from the noaton, from the intelligible. The psyche participates the noaton, Plato would say. It comes from outside of time and space. It comes from what Plotinus called the hypostases, or what in the Vedas are called the pure tattvas. It comes from outside, beyond time and space, and interacts with the physical universe down here. And the way you get at it, the way you interact with it, is through a time-varying Coulomb potential. And you want to keep the charge on the sphere negative at all times, just more and less negative. Time-varying Coulomb potential induces the life energy. The life energy is what your soul is made out of.